October 1989, and this is the village of Kopachi in the Ukraine. Although it's more than 3 years since the accident, the consequences of Chernobyl are still being felt today. Even today, entire villages are still being demolished. 135,000 people were evacuated from the zone around Chernobyl. Radiation means their homes are now fit for just one thing. It's a small, sad example of the continuing cost of Chernobyl. When the Soviet army finished, this was all that remained. After the accident, everyone was evacuated for 30 kilometers around Chernobyl. The nearest town was Pripyat. Today, Pripyat is still abandoned, except for a factory used by research scientists. 60,000 people once lived here. Too dangerous to live in, it's too expensive to demolish. Inexplicably, the tannoy was still working. What the woman was doing there, we never knew. But if people are returning to their homes just 5 kilometers from Chernobyl, then even today, it's very unwise.
One can see, if you're checking something down here like this.
Alarms on straight away.
The alarm's on, that's right.
What's it meandering between?
This is about 800 or something like that at the moment, just in this bit here. But in other parts, I've seen it up to nearly 2,000, actually, when we've been testing while we're here.
Right.
I mean, I think that in terms of the work here, we wouldn't want to hang around too long. Hour and a half, a couple of hours, something like that, to get all the filming done that we want to do. I think that's the sort of time.
Okay. The children who once slept in this nursery spent 36 hours under the fallout cloud before they were evacuated. I think of all the sad, deserted scenes that we've seen here in Pripyat today, perhaps the saddest has to be here in a kindergarten and this mutated tree. And there is April 1986, the growth before it, and there's the mutation to a different variety. And it really is a grim reminder of just how much damage the radiation could do. Before evacuation, the average dose received in Pripyat in just one day was 50 times the British limit for an entire year. The latest Soviet predictions for the 135,000 evacuees from the zone are an extra 700 fatal cancers. Only time will tell if the prediction is too high or too low. But Chernobyl is set to redefine our knowledge about the harm that can be caused by radiation. We discovered the final use for Pripyat in an abandoned greenhouse. The earth here was also strongly radioactive. Surprisingly, agricultural chemists were using it to experiment with varieties of crop that will absorb minimum amounts of radioactivity from the soil. Resistant seeds are selling well throughout the Ukraine and Belarus. It's a bitter example of the lengths the Soviets are being forced to go to as they learn